School, writing, free speech, and competition. What do all of these have in common? That's right. This week, we're talking about campus journalism. Welcome to Think Out Loud. Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Think Out Loud, Minds on the Mic, where we talk about life, school, and whatever thoughts come to mind, providing a platform for your ideas. I'm your host, your speaker, your friend, Mark Rebollido. With that, let's get right into the topic. So you might be thinking, why am I tackling campus journalism? Why in the world would I jump from mental health to campus journalism? Well, it is because some of you may or may not know that I am actually a campus journalist. I was introduced to it at a young age in an elementary school, and since then it has taught me a lot. I've experienced a lot because of it. I have had a lot of friends because of it. I've related to so many people because of it, and I get to tackle different things in my life, in my cognitive world, you could say, that it made me feel that I am limitless when it comes to writing. So it's just fair to say that campus journalism has a special place in my heart, as I'm sure other journalists do too here in the Philippines, considering that last year's National School Press Conference alone, the highest tier competition a campus journalist could compete in here in the Philippines, already had 3,320 delegates. It's very shocking because first, you have to compete in your division, which may or may not have 27 schools competing. So, 27 schools, 5 will be the winner. Then you will compete in the regions and only 3 will win in your category and in the nationals, in the highest tier. That's why I'm sharing with you my experiences and my thoughts in being a campus journalist. And of course, I'm not gonna be alone in this, because today I am joined by my ridiculously talented friend, Joseph. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me again.
So, for some of you who haven't seen the third episode of this podcast, Joseph already has been a guest in my podcast. Is that correct, right, Joseph?
Yes.
Yeah. So
This is my second time on your show.
So let me get this right. First, you've been a campus journalist since you were grade school, right?
Yeah, since grade 5, but
Yeah.
I really only became active in grade 6.
Yeah. I remember Joseph being a competitor of mine. Technically, my schoolmate's competitor in editorial, but it's almost the same thing. So, a 2-time regional qualifier, one in grade school and one in high school. Is that right, Joseph?
Yes.
So, since we both know we have maybe a fair amount of past in being a campus journalist, so let's get right into this. So, since we're talking about campus journalism and us being a campus journalist, we need to start. What age, year, or grade level did we start campus journalism, and how did we get into it? So, what age, year, or grade level did you start campus journalism?
So at first, I really started in grade 5. It was just, at first I wasn't really more on interest. I was interested because I wanted to draw and I wanted to be an editorial cartoonist, which sadly I did not get the point of. And also I was bad at drawing at the same time. I really wasn't doing anything until 6th grade, where I only started to become active as a news writer and a sports writer.
So, grade 5, you say, right?
Yes, grade 5.
So, that's what years, I suppose? Maybe like 2017, 2018?
Yeah,
Yeah,
around that time.
around that time. So, uh, my story is I started in third grade. Actually, I became active at when I was in fourth grade, but in third grade we had a competition where uh we would write essays. We would write essays, and then the teacher would take the top three, and she will assign the top three in categories. And you know what's funny? That's essay writing. What's in campus journalism, essay is much closer to editorial. Yet she assigned me to news writing. My I'm highly opinionated, and yet she puts me in news writing. So that's how I got into it. But
Sad.
in fourth grade, I really started to write because my favorite teacher, Sir Lester, he was a teacher of mine when I was fourth grade. He brought me into writing editorials, and I really loved it because he taught me a lot. So that's how I got into it. And your story is really interesting because my story is just literally from news and then to editorial writing, but you started on wanting to be a editorial cartoon.
Editorial cartoonist.
Yeah.
But I really didn't get the point. I just wanted to do it for fun. But eventually, I just fell in love with writing in general. So at some point, they assigned me these. So when my moderate when my campus when my when the
Yeah.
when the moderators when the paper moderators decided
Yeah.
that I had to start doing something, they started experimenting with what I could do, and they eventually just placed me on sports writing. Eventually, they found out that I was extremely opinionated on everything. So,
That's a
so they recommended I should try doing editorial writing. They said that I had some potential, I could do this, I could do that.
Yeah.
So of course, just to help, just to experiment, I tried, and I fell in love with it.
So
It's
so that's basically the two things, our campus journalism story started like we didn't really get into editorial writing immediately. We were put into different categories first before we found out that we're extremely opinionated on things. So
it's really more gradual. You really can't. You have. It takes time until you find what you're really good at,
yeah,
or what you really want to do.
yeah. So another question, since we now tackled how we got into campus journalism, why did why did we continue, or why did we become a campus journalism? So why did you continue campus journalism?
I continued campus journalism because it eventually went from just a hobby to a passion.
Yeah.
And apart from a passion, it's not just because I wanted to win contests or I wanted to continue building up a hobby. I wanted to continue serving in the school newspaper, and I also wanted to continue getting my voice out. I also decided that journalism could be.
Oh, so
So that I should just continue.
yeah, my story, the reason why I continued is because of two things. It is an external and an internal push. Internally, I really found that being an editorial or being a writer really got my expression out there, made my thoughts more articulate, since I need to put my ideas down on paper, and it needs to be convincing enough so people would read it and people would be amazed by it. So that's how I fell in love with campus journalism, with editorial particularly, because I've learned that I am not limited to what I know now, and I can know more later. And the external factor is my teacher, Sir Lester, keeps following me around and keeps telling me, Mark, you should write an editorial article about this, about that. And I was like, okay, I will do. And I remember a time I started dodging him, but really he was a big driving factor for me to become a campus journalism. And that's really embarrassing
In a way,
because
we both.
yeah.
Sorry.
No.
In a way, we kind of both have the same motives. But my teachers and my fellow members in our school newspaper. They told me you should continue writing this. You're really good. You should do this. They saw a lot of potential in me, and they wanted me to continue. They wanted me to write about this issue and that issue because apparently it seemed that I complained about literally everything.
So, since now we've tackled, now we know that why we became a campus journalist, and how we continued in campus journalism. So, a big factor that campus journalism brings is the responsibility. So, how do you and how do I manage school and extracurricular? In our case, org and school. How do you manage it? Since I know that you've dealt with this problem a lot.
In all honesty, I do not know how I managed to juggle between school and campus journalism. Of course, I had the advantage of having more good teachers who were flexible enough to accommodate me. But apart from that, it was really just scheduling and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I remember when we were at club. I remember you having a lot of test papers in front of you and a lot of notes in front of you, trying to sort through them all. So my story with my way of how to deal with extracurricular in school is basically the same thing, scheduling and school, but the difference is schooling and writing for me has already molded into one thing. When I write, when I study, I write, and when I want to think of things or want to express my thoughts, I already write. So it's not really a strain on me since I'm already a passionate writer. I already love writing. So at any given moment, if you made me write something, I can write something. But basically, still the responsibility of being a campus journalism puts a strain on you, and that's why I schedule my time so I could have leisure, school, and then put campus journalism in there somewhere, So, with that, so now we've tackled what age, why did you continue, and how do you manage it. So, since we've already tackled that, what does campus journalism mean? More specifically, what does it mean to be a campus journalist for you? What does it mean?
Well, to me, campus journalism it's just more than writing and giving out your opinion to the school. It's about expressing yourself, and it's about convincing people to follow your cause. I really don't have this. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just that it's more than just a passion. It's more than just a passion in a way for you to express yourself, to get your opinions out. It's more than that in a way that I really can't describe.
Yeah.
It's a passion. It really is. And
yeah.
It's just indescribable. I just don't know how to say it.
So that's also the same for me. What campus journalism means for me is that it's just basically you showing your abilities, you showing your passion, you showing what you are really made of. That's what campus journalism means for me. It is a mutually beneficial thing for both parties, for the readers and for the writers, because both of them get to learn certain stuff as the campus journalist is writing it and the readers are reading it. So that's basically what campus journalism means for me. It is something that people can learn and communicate through, and it is really something that has drawn me to campus journalism, because I never had a medium before where I could write something and people would read it for themselves, not force on them, but would read it for themselves, for leisure or for knowledge,
or just in general.
Yeah, in general. So that's really something that I found amazing in campus journalism. So thank you, Joseph. This is just the main episode, guys. If you want to catch the bonus episode, go to my website, mark link down below, and catch the bonus episode. So this is your main episode. This is Mark Rebollido signing out.